Hello and welcome in to another edition of the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast, live on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, X account, and Instagram account. This is where we talk about the Idaho 8-Man football scene week in, week out in the great state of Idaho. Season 5, Episode 6, because we are on to Week 6 of the high school football season already. We are past the midway point, believe it or not. The Idaho 8-Man Prepcast is brought to you by Ideal, Idaho's college savings program. We'll talk a little bit more about them later on in the show, but without further ado, let's bring on our esteemed panel of experts joining us tonight from the Panther Den. Coach Lane Kirkland. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, good to be here again tonight. I can't believe it's already week 6. A lot of stories have been told, but some great ones ahead. It's going to be an exciting week.
Yes, already halfway through the high school regular season. Joining us from the Treasure Valley tonight, Will Henneke. Will, what's up?
It's a little bit Pantherish around here, too. In Parma, it's homecoming week for the Parma Panthers, getting ready to take on the old Marsing Huskies on Friday night. Powder puff and fireworks tonight. My dog is going to be thrilled.
Yeah, Powder Puff up in Cary tonight as well. I guess I never realized, but each of the communities you guys reside in, Parma and Cary, both Panthers there. So
Panther Nation, baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I always give Scott Burton, our Magic Valley Prepcast co-host, a hard time because I'm like, Tiger is like the most common name in Idaho, real original. Anyways, let's talk about your Jerome Tigers, Scott. Yeah, he always appreciates that.
Yep.
You know what is not a common name in the state of Idaho, though? Trojans and Red Devils. And boy, howdy, did Raft River and Murtaugh have a great battle this past week. It is our Idaho Sports 8-Man Prepcast Game of the Week. We always highlight what was the most exciting game, start to finish, and it was certainly this one. It goes to overtime between Raft River and Murtaugh. But before we can even get to overtime here, Will, Murtaugh had the lead with 10 seconds to go, and they led by 8, 20-12. But McCoy Spencer, Chase, but can you describe this play to us, Will?
Just, final seconds of the game, one last shot, so to speak. And when you think of Raft River, and Coach, you can talk about this more. You've been down in that area for, a few minutes now, but they're a pound the ball team, but they had to go down the field. They had to throw the ball down the field. McCoy Spencer to Chase Bowden, that got them to within 2. Then they get the 2-point conversion on a run to tie it up and send it to overtime. But for Murtaugh, you want to talk about heartbreak. You're one play away from what would have been a huge conference win, and now you got to try to rebound in overtime against a really, really good Raft River team.
Yeah, so they get the touchdown, like you mentioned, from Spencer to Bowden. They still have to get the 2-point conversion. Ruger Ward runs that in, and so we go to overtime tied at 20-20. Raft River gets the ball first in overtime, and it's another touchdown pass from Spencer to Ren Udy, and again, they run in the 2-point conversion. So now it's Murtaugh's turn. Well, Murtaugh scores on their possession as well, Coach, but then that Raft River defense gets the stop that they needed. They deny the Red Devils on the 2-point conversion, and that's all she wrote. 28-26, the final. Raft River gets the win.
Yeah, that would have been a fun game to watch. Those are heartbreak ones when they come down to the end there. Great players make great plays. Great coaches make great calls, and somebody has to come out on the losing end of that there. But, man, that would have been exciting to see that hook and ladder roll to get into the end zone and get that thing tied up. Reminded me of the Broncos in 07. I pulled that up just before we came on the show here just to relive the beautiful memories there. To the end zone. Can you believe that? I'm sure that's what Randy Spaeth was saying all the way down to the corner there. And then we go into overtime. And, the Devils got beat there on that 2-point conversion. But exciting for the Snake River Conference to have some close games like that, I'm sure.
It's crazy. Both teams got tremendous play from their offensive and defensive lines. And, I mean, it creates basically what we had, which was a borderline stalemate. I mean, 20-12 in the closing seconds of regulation. That's like a 7-6, 11-man football game. That's some slugging it out right there. That's some old school slug it out, grind it out football. But I guarantee I'm sure the Murtaugh fans were disappointed to come out on the losing end, but I don't think too many people woke up the next game and thought, man, that was a boring game.
Yeah. Raft River, 255 total yards of offense, 160 rushing, 95 passing. And for Murtaugh, their second game this year where they felt, man, we had a shot. The season opener with Cary, a game they lost by one possession, essentially. And then this one with Raft River. The nice thing is for Murtaugh, it's they're getting better, even though they're losing. This is going to instill confidence in them that, hey, we can go out there and compete with some of Idaho's best. The other game of note from the Snake River Conference this past Friday night was Valley and Oakley. This is funny. Wallace Miners Athletics in the comments. We want to hear from you, the fans, as you're watching tonight. Throw something in the chat. We'll throw it up on the screen. Checking Max Preps every week like it's Christmas morning. Still no 8-man rankings. MIA, missing in action. Please be kind to the Miners. Oh, great Max Preps gods. Yeah, so next week is when I start. My persona changes. I'm no longer Brandon Baney. I'm Brackets Baney. I start looking at the projected brackets and doing the bracketology. And I'll be very curious to see. I haven't even touched the Max Preps rankings yet. But Will, why wouldn't they be there?
Wallace, I'm sure they probably will be. What's going to be interesting, and I was talking about this a little bit with a couple of coaches in the 2A classification, because you have the automatic qualifiers and then the at-larges. There's a pretty plausible path where, there might be one, unless we have a couple of teams kind of turn it on. If Oakley can pick up a couple wins, something like that can happen. If Notice can get hot and win some games, something like that, whichever, assuming that because I'm projecting Idaho City probably will win the Western Idaho Conference. I know Wilder ain't going to love hearing that. Notice ain't going to love hearing that. And that's okay. A lot of love and respect. But it's tracking to be a one-bid league again. And unless someone else gets hot and kind of forces a second bid out of that league, it looks like, potentially we're looking at about 13 teams for 12 spots right now.
Yeah, sorry. My question was not, I feel pretty decent about Wallace. My question was, why aren't the Max Preps rankings there?
Oh, certain number of, and Coach, you might know better than me, but I think all the teams have to have played a certain amount of games before they'll put them out.
And it used to be 3.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
don't see him. I didn't see him the last couple of days. I couldn't find him either. So maybe the Idaho Max Preps guy is still eating lunch. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's something I really don't want to call Max Preps and ask them, but I will do that next week if there are no rankings, because I'll need them for my bracketology. So, yeah, it used to be 3. Everyone's rankings are out besides 8-man, all the other classifications. So
you just wasted a great, thoughtful answer on the wrong question.
Yes.
It made sense. It made sense.
It's like the movie Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. We wasted the good surprise on you. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get back.
My apologies. I used up my good bullet already. Let's see how many shots I got left in me.
Well, the Valley Vikings had several bullets in the pistol ready to go this past Friday night. A 58-26 victory over Oakley. 544 total yards of offense, 455 on the ground. Brant Jones had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown to Reese Balls. Thomas Vargas found the end zone twice. Daniel Zamudio scored on a rushing TD. Oakley scored first in this game, I believe, and then Valley returned the ensuing kickoff back for a touchdown. So Oakley had the lead for just a short window of time there. Valley, no problems in this one. And so now if we take a look at the conference standings, you've got Raft River at 2-0. I'll put them up on my screen here. Hagerman is still 1-0. They had the bye last week. Valley sitting at 1-1. And then Glens Ferry hasn't played a conference game yet. Murtaugh's 0-1. Oakley is 0-2. Glens Ferry lost last week to Grace 51-0. Non-conference game. The Grizzlies kind of put the clamps down. Gavin Draper, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns passing. Also had a rushing touchdown and an interception on defense. Speaking of the defense, Bryant Moss had 6 tackles. Chase Smith had 8 tackles. They both contributed on offense as well. Each had a rushing touchdown. Bryant Moss had 2 receiving touchdowns. So Grace is looking really good. But Coach, I look at this Snake River Conference, and Oakley, it might be too late, 0-5 starting there, but the other 5 teams I could all see as, contending for a playoff spot.
Yeah, there's still a lot of football to play out there. Hagerman showing a lot of dominance, I think, throughout the season, and doing some things to kind of put, I think, their name at the top of that list. But Raft River pulling out the early victory, or the late victory, I should say, this last weekend. So there's still some battles to settle. I think 1, 2, and 3 in that conference that lay ahead, and it'll be fun to see how those all play out. Who's still healthy and who's still hungry and wants a piece of that Snake River Conference title.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see once these teams all start playing each other. Of course, Hagerman has already played Valley there. So, and for Grace, real quick, we'll check in on them. Still 5-0, undefeated. Butte County the other way, they're 0-4. Not sure anybody saw that coming when the season began. But Grace just keeps on winning. And next week on the Coach's Corner, we will stop down with Travis Draper, the first-year head coach for the Grace Grizzlies. He's been part of the football program for several years now. But no Coach's Corner this week because we are all short on time. And when I say we, I mean me. So I have to make an airport run as soon as this show is done. So Coach's Corner will be back next week here on the 8-Man Prepcast with Travis Draper from Grace. We're really excited for that. Okay, let's go up north to the White Pine League, guys, where this score came in. And real quick, here's Lee J. Cook, our good friend from Cary, the athletic director. Great show, guys. Thanks for all the info. Go Panthers. Yes, we'll get to
I didn't know Lee J. was a Parma fan.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's actually Coeur d'Alene Charter. That's they are also the Panthers up in my neck of the woods.
Is it Snake River?
Yeah, Snake River.
Panthers as well?
Yes. Yep. So a lot of Panthers prowling out there in the great state of Idaho. I talked about this. I kind of made a joke pre-show. The only name that's more common than Panther is Tiger. Let's check in with the Kendrick Tigers. They defeated Clearwater Valley on Friday night, 102-0. When that final score came across, I waited. I didn't post it to our site right away because I was like, there's no way that's correct. Whenever I see something like that, I want to double and triple check it. I got the confirmation I needed, and so Kendrick gets the win, 102-0. Maddox Kirkland, 4 of 5, 136 yards, so all 4 of his completions went for touchdowns. Tanner Clemenhagen, 3 carries for 97 yards and 2 scores. He had a receiving touchdown and a pick 6. Nathan Twite had a receiving touchdown and a pick 6. Cade Silflo had a receiving touchdown and a pick 6 and a punt return touchdown. Even Hank Heimgartner, the backup QB, played the second half, and he scored 3 times, twice on the ground, once through the air. So this was a game that Kendrick led pretty comfortably at halftime, and then they played the reserves there. Coach, this is something I've heard from some fans that maybe don't know the nuances of when you have a historically dominant program like Kendrick has. They see the final score of 102-0, and they assume that, well, that team's running up the score. Where's the sportsmanship? But we talked to these coaches. We've talked to Ty Kep, the Kendrick coach, but we talked to the opposing coaches as well. And there's been no indication from anybody that Kendrick is not handling this situation with they're handling it with the utmost class and respect for their opponent.
Correct. When I saw the score, I was like, all right, we got to get a hold of Coach Hutchins here and see what happened from that side of the story. And Coach Hutchins says, yeah, they are that good. They are scary good. He says they got up 40 and subbed just a little bit, but not too much before half. I mean, when else are these guys, these starters, going to get to play? And so you got to play them before half, no matter what happens. And I'm sure it was done in a respectful way, as Coach Hutchins mentioned. And then 3 touchdowns were only scored after half because the clock runs pretty quick, and that's pretty traditional. Usually you can get 2 in, sometimes it's 3. But when you get 3, quick scores on a punt return and 2, whatever it was,
pick
sixes. That's 24 points, guys. That can happen fast. That can happen the first play right after you've scored already. So things add up very quickly there, and you don't want it to happen, but it just happens. And the opposing side, the losing side, generally understands what's going on. I've been there before, and it was against Valley. We were 76-0 at half. And I don't know how we got there. Second string kids, third string kids just kept doing amazing things, and they just scored very quickly there. So I appreciate that that note coming from Coach Hutchins, and Coach Kep just got those guys rolling, and that's what you want to do.
That's how it goes sometimes. And other people might say, well, they're still throwing the ball. They threw the ball 5 times. Okay. I mean, he completed 4 of the 5, and they all went for touchdowns. It's like one play, and they scored.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Hutchins a little bit as well. And the first 2 things he brought up were, we had a couple of key kids go out with injuries early in the game, including their quarterback. So, my backup quarterback going up against the number 1 team in the state that, as of right now has outscored its opponents through 4 games or whatever, 5 games, something like 350 something to 8. And he's like, hey, nobody wants it. Nobody wants to wear one like that. But he's like, still got to go play the game. And the kids competed. And he said they were out at practice on Monday and spirits were high and they were ready to just kind of turn the page and move on. And at some point, no one enjoys it. Like, Coach, you've been on the plus side of a few of those games. I've been on both sides of them in baseball. When a game's out of hand like that, there comes a point where, as a coach, all you're thinking about is, I hope no one gets hurt. The outcome is decided. I just don't want somebody to bust a leg or blow out a shoulder or something like that. So let's get the kids their reps. Let's get the clock moving, and let's turn the page to next week.
Yep. So congratulations to Kendrick. 102-0, the final over Clearwater Valley. Other White Pine action, Cami beats Prairie 22-12. Logan Keene, 80 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Damian Ochoa, 4 rushes, 41 yards and a score. Gavin Shaning, 5 catches, 107 yards and 17 tackles on defense. And Lawson Landmark also hit Todd Roberts for the touchdown there for Prairie. 2 scores, Cade Quintal to Levi McElroy, and then Quintal had a rushing touchdown there as well. Potlatch shuts out Lapway 56-0. Jay Marshall, 151 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Also had a receiving touchdown from Trey McGowan. Connor Carpenter scores 2 rushing touchdowns, and Jacob Keck, the converted offensive guard, now the running back, 1 rushing touchdown, and also scored on a blocked punt in the end zone. Just fell on it. And so 2 touchdowns for Jacob Keck there. So 56-0 win for Potlatch over Lapway. And then a couple of non-conference games. Logos defeats Coeur de Christ 48-12. Logos got back to the run in this one, 295 rushing yards total. Joseph Sensing and Baxter Covington each scored twice on the ground. Ace Greaser had a 63-yard punt return touchdown as well. Coeur de Christ, 2 touchdown passes from Grant Clemens, 1 to Greg Hayes, 1 to Beckett Fire. And then Troy off the schneid, first win of the season. They defeated Lakeside in a non-conference game 70-12. Peyton Christensen, 4 of 4, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown and had 2 interceptions on defense. Jaden Mason scored twice. Brock Foote scored. Hinderhurst, Lincoln Marone scored 2 receiving touchdowns. Jack Christensen caught a touchdown pass. It was nice to see Troy finally get off the schneid and get a win there. Horror 365 in the chat. How's it going, everyone? Great, because we're talking 8-man football. So thanks for the shout out there. So
Horror, I'm doing terribly because I already used up my best take of the week 30 seconds into the show. And it wasn't even the question that Brandon asked me. So I'm doing terribly. These guys may be doing great, but I'm doing awful.
It was done with passion and sincerity, Will. It's all right.
Plenty of time to recover. No doubt. So, Will,
I'm done.
I'll go to you first, Will. When we look at this White Pine League, Cami and Potlatch continue to lead the way, each 2-0. Kendrick now 1-0 in the league. Logos and Prairie are each 1-1. Prairie with the loss to Cami, Logos with the loss to Cami as well. So Cami has beaten both of them. Troy is not competing this year. They're basically having their own independent schedule. Clearwater Valley and Lapway bringing up the rear there. How do you think this White Pine's shaking out? I mean, we're starting to get a little bit of separation here just by nature of everybody's kind of starting to play each other.
I think there's a lot of playoff teams in that league. I really, really do. And you even look at Clearwater Valley, who's 0-3 right now, but they played punch to punch with Potlatch into overtime and punch to punch with Glens Ferry right down to the final minutes of that game. And those are two teams that I think have excellent chances to be playoff teams. So the way the Max Preps thing works, at least we think, I mean, it might just be a bingo thing where they're pulling names out of a hat or something like that, since they won't tell us exactly how they do it. But with the schedule Clearwater Valley has coming up, they have 5 games left, okay? And with who some of those games are against, Kamei this week, they've got Lapwai coming up. I believe they've got Prairie coming up. I mean, they go 3-2 over these final 5 games, and I will put pretty decent money that they're in position to be in the playoffs. And that's a team that right now we're talking to is about pulling up the rear in the conference. I think it's a great conference at the top. I think it's a great conference at the bottom. That's the crazy thing about it, is I think it's just it's strong, it's balanced. I think Kendrick's clearly won, but then, could Logos give him a run? Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. Kendrick, yeah, maybe. We'll see. I mean, there are teams out there that are going to have their chance to play their hand and see what they can do, and who knows?
Yeah, here's Alfred Marshall, our resident Potlatch fan. White Pine will represent well.
Yep.
Totally agree. The book I've heard on Kendrick is you've got a chance if you can catch up to them, because they are fast, but compared to some of the other White Pine teams in the league, maybe the other opponents have maybe some bigger, stronger guys. Problem is catching up to those guys. That's the hard part. They're always running free. So
well, this goes to Coach's point earlier, where Coach Kep has got to let his kids play some, because if they get into the second half, if they get into a dogfight with, let's say, Kamei, just to pull a name out of a hat, and it's 24-22, 30-28, and we're in the fourth quarter, Coach Kep doesn't want those guys to run out of gas because they're not playing enough football. So he's got to give them some reps now.
Yep, totally agree. So, well, keep an eye on the White Pine League as we go here throughout the season. Let's wrap up with the Western Idaho Conference down in District 3, a game you were at Friday night, Will. Idaho City and Chalice in a non-conference game. Idaho City gets the win 44-38. They were up 2 scores late, and Chalice kind of scored right at the end to make it look a little closer. But this was a fun back and forth game. Some good athletes. What did you see?
Very entertaining game. A lot of big plays. The crowd was into it. Chalice represented well. I cannot imagine that's a quick drive from Chalice to Idaho City, 2 of the more obscure places as far as how to get there, like one road in, one road out. The thing I really like about Idaho City, they may not have that one guy that's a threat to go for 500 yards in any game, but they got 5 or 6 guys that can land a lot of jabs. You got Jackson Rober, you got Mac Rober, you got Mitchell Davis, Isaac Manor, Cooper Smith. And the great thing about them, if you're an Idaho City fan, none of them are seniors. And then on the other side, Chalice, I thought they played well. They played their heart outs. They've got a legitimate bona fide dude in T. Garrickson. They've got another pretty good senior in Garrison Applegate. And then they've got a freshman quarterback running back tandem in Owen Thane and Gus Zerga. They're going to be heard from in their league before it's all said and done. But this was a fun game, and T. Garrickson made one of those plays that had even the opposing coaches and fans saying wow with a catch that he made. It was a fun Friday night football game in one of my favorite venues in the entire state, regardless of classification, up in Idaho City.
Yeah, that was one we were thinking about when we were putting together the broadcast schedule for IdahoSports.com this year. That was a game we were strongly considering going to broadcast, but we were like, I don't know if the internet's going to be strong enough up there for us to broadcast. You're literally in the middle of the mountains, so we decided against it. But yes, I'm glad you went, and I'm glad that it was a fun time. The other big winner from the Western Idaho Conference was Notice, a 55-22 win over Cascade. Notice 237 rushing yards. Anthony Guevara scores twice on the ground. Mark Lungu scores twice on the ground. Derek Huter throws 2 touchdown passes, both to Sawyer Nicoletti. And for Cascade, Finley Wilkins had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Chase Derrick, just a freshman. You remember the Derrick name with Stewie Derrick, Stuart Derrick. So this is freshman Chase Derrick, 7 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Damian Nuno, 6 tackles and an interception for the big guy. And then Jayshon Walker had a 95-yard kick return touchdown for Cascade as well. But this is a team, Coach, notice that is kind of slowly, I think, figuring things out. It's their first win of the season under first-year coach Charlie Shepard Jr., and maybe this is what they need to propel them forward as they get ready for conference play.
Yeah, a little rough start to kind of begin the season, to settle into that league there, and a new coach and a new system going on. But it's got to start somewhere, and Coach Charlie Shepard is gonna bounce off of this one, and I think it continue to propel forward here, and maybe give Idaho City a run as they meet up here later on, probably this month, maybe next month. I'm not sure. But you got to start somewhere, and the Pirates pretty excited about that 30-point victory over a good team. And so, keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they see the standings. Nobody's actually played a conference game yet. That changes this week. Idaho City is off to the best start at 3-1. Notice is 1-3, but they played 3 really good teams: Garden Valley, Raft River, and Tri-Valley. So, the record might be a little deceptive. They will not play Idaho City until October 17th. So we got a long time, Coach, before this thing might get settled there.
Is that one on the schedule, Brandon?
Time to tune up.
No. What kind of cell coverage did you have up there, Will?
Up there? Mine was fine.
Okay.
But I wasn't trying to power a webcast, so I don't know.
Yeah, it is in Idaho City, so I don't know. We'll have to consider it.
Late November in Idaho City could be some interesting weather.
Yep, for sure. Okay, let's talk about and then Centennial Baptist. Let's not forget they're 1-2. Had that big season opening win over Wilder. That was a non-conference win. They're circling back to play Wilder later in the season also. Wallace Miners Athletics, really trying to make sure I don't get this airport run completed. Speaking of max preps, I know it's not 8-man, but how in the world is Grangeville ranked 14 and Priest River 17? They already played and Priest River won 42-6. I'm starting to lose faith in the max preps algorithm. Somebody check the wires back there.
Starting to lose?
Yeah, take a number. Take a number, Wallace. I assume it has something to do with strength of schedule. Grangeville has played teams like McCall Donnelly. They've played, I think, Moscow, some really good teams. I'm not saying Priest River hasn't played good teams, but they've played some weaker opponents as well along the way. So I would say that's probably what's going on there in 11-man football. Okay, that is our 2A breakdown. When we come back, and Centennial Baptist did play finally after a couple of weeks off last week. They played the Lighthouse Christian JV guys, and Coach, you correctly picked this one, the Lions. The Lions got the 42-30 win. Do you think we will see varsity football at Lighthouse Christian next year?
I haven't heard, but I would bet we do next season. I did hear there were a good group of boys coming through the scene that are a little bit younger there. I think their junior high, they said, was pretty good last year and maybe even this year. So hopefully they can rebound there. It'd be great to add them back into the league. They got a beautiful setting, a beautiful field, and great tradition. And we need more teams to play.
100%. Yeah, they ripped that thing down to the studs a couple of years ago and did just junior high football. Next step is having a JV team, and we'll see. We'll see if they can get varsity football going here. So one more comment from Wallace Miners. Yes, Priest River has the head-to-head win over Grangeville. You would think that would put them ahead, but I have no clue. I always say right when I've got the formula figured out, something seems to change, and then all of a sudden I don't know it anymore. Although the formula never changes apparently, and there's no bias in it. So anyways, that could be a whole nother show for another day. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go to the Wallace Miners. We'll go to the 1A football roundup, and we'll tell you about our ideal contest as well. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
Once again, we have contributed to your ideal college savings program. Love, Grandma and Grandpa.
Ideal. Eventually, they'll appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. I love it.
College costs money.
Welcome back to the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com's YouTube channel, Facebook page, X account, and Instagram account. It's brought to you by Ideal, Idaho's college savings program. And once again this fall, IdahoSports.com and Ideal are teaming up to give away $529 to one lucky student to be used in a 529 account from Ideal. Now, these can be used for college, trade school, apprenticeships, graduate programs, a lot of different options nationwide. And all you do is enter, and then we randomly choose a winner. It's pretty awesome. Our last year's winner was Rylan Skinner, sophomore from Kamei High. He is now a junior, and this is limited to families with children attending or planning to attend a 1A or 2A public or private K through 12 school. So it's just for our 8-man schools, 1A and 2A. All the contest rules can be found at idsaves.org/Idaho Sports. Super easy to remember. It's idsaves.org/Idaho Sports. And I'll put that up on the screen. Everybody can jot that down real quick. idsaves.org/Idaho Sports. All the contest rules and how to enter is there. And you do need a parent or guardian to assist if you are under the age of 18. So get on it. You could be this year's winner. It's free money. Literally could be used for anything post high school. So why would you turn that opportunity down? It's super easy to fill out, and it takes, I don't know, not very long. So get on it. That's the IdahoSports.com, Idaho 8-Man Prepcast, and Ideal college savings giveaway. Okay, let's go to what happened in 1A football this past week, guys. Let's start with the Long Pin Conference. This is where Garden Valley, Tri-Valley Council all just seem to be excelling. As we pull up the conference standings, you'll see that it's very tight. Garden Valley's 4-0, Tri-Valley's 3-1, Council is 2-1, and Salmon River saying, hey, don't forget about us in the back here. We're 3-1 also. I can't wait for these teams to actually all start playing each other. We'll finally see how this data all shakes out. Last week, we had Garden Valley improve to 4-0 with a 42-8 win over North Gem. 3 different quarterbacks played: Tegan Goff, Payson Kelly, Maddox Miller. They had Marshall Coley with a rushing touchdown. Cody Perrin ran the ball 5 times for 93 yards and a score. Keegan Welsh had a receiving touchdown. Just a nice, tidy win for the Wolverines there, Coach Kirkland.
Yeah, I got a hold of Coach Yearsley, and they love to travel on some of these long road trips, and 4 or 5 hours out to Enterprise. They had another great journey, great experience. They first set up camp at Lake Wallowa, a good-sized lake out there in the middle of Oregon, and then drove to the game to Enterprise, just about a 20 to 30-minute drive. Played the game, went back to camp and had burgers. And the next morning, Coach Ward and his wife made biscuits and gravy for the team. So these guys are campers. They go all over the place. I think last year was it Rockland or somewhere they went to?
They went to North Gem. They went to Bancroft and camped
just
out.
Camp along the river there. But they have a lot of fun. Those are great memories and building some good stuff along the way. But Coach Yearsley says we've started to focus a lot more on our defense, and it's paying off. Things are coming together, and to get a win way out there in the middle of nowhere certainly is another one to put in their hat. So good stuff going on in Garden Valley.
Yeah, actually, that might have been the Castleford game. They played at Castleford last year too, and camped out after that. I can't remember now. You have to ask Coach Yearsley. Hey, where'd you camp last year?
I think you camped twice. Those guys love it so much.
Yeah, for sure. So so we talked about that last week. They got that 2-point win over Enterprise, Oregon, and we're like, I bet they camped somewhere. So we put you on it to ask, and that's just a team bonding experience that brings you together. And then they get the home win over North Gem 42-8 this past Friday. Tri-Valley defeats Butte County 52-40. I kind of forgot about this game, guys. This was on Saturday at Greenleaf Friends. Greenleaf Friends doesn't even have a team anymore. They co-opted with Centennial Baptist for a while there, but they are not part of that anymore. So they played this at Greenleaf Friends' field.
Brandon, can I update you on that?
Oh, it wasn't in Greenleaf?
No, the game was actually played in Arco. They tweaked the schedule so that Butte County will return to Tri-Valley next year.
Ah, okay.
So hence that's why everything had to change, because it was supposed to be in Greenleaf. Butte County brought it, and thankfully Tri-Valley was willing to cooperate with them to give, because otherwise Butte would have only had like 2 home games. So this was a way for them to get an additional home game.
Yeah. And Tri-Valley got the win 52-40. Jace Wagoner, 16 carries, 253 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, had 11 tackles defensively. Gage George ran for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eli Noah ran for 96 yards and a score. And then Elias DeVries, 11 tackles and a sack for that Tri-Valley defense. So the Titans improved to 3-1. Their only loss this year has come to Adrian, Oregon, and we know what kind of program that is over there, multi-time state champion over the past couple of years. So they are 3-1. Council went to Oregon and said, hey, we take care of business against these Oregon schools. They beat Crane Union 56-6. Owen Hatfield, 2 of 2, 69 yards and a touchdown, 4 carries for 189 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions on defense. Jimmy Tucker ran for 128 yards and a touchdown. And then Bryson Evans had a rushing and a receiving touchdown. Coach, Idaho really flexing their muscles against our neighbors to the west from Oregon.
Let's see. Are we undefeated out of state this year?
Well, Tri-Valley lost to Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, and Water Springs, Joseph, right? So maybe 2 losses, but we're holding up really well, aren't we?
Yes.
Idaho's got some good football going on.
Yes, they do. So, and then Salmon River defeats Wilder 60-6. Blake Shepard, 98 yards and a touchdown passing, ran for a touchdown as well. Gage Crump completed 1 of 4 passes for a touchdown, ran for 91 yards, caught 2 passes, had 13 tackles. And you're like, man, that's pretty good. And then Riley Davis says, yeah, watch this, 12 carries, 224 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
yeah, their only loss, they played without 3 or 4 two-way starters earlier this year. So, this is a team that a lot of people have started to kind of take notice of them. This is, they may not be the cute little Salmon River team of years past. They may be kind of beastly Salmon River from a few years ago with guys like Leighton Vander Esch and Charlie Shepard playing for them. And they've been impressive. They've been really, really impressive. They're bigger and they're stronger and they have some depth this year, and then they're off to a great start.
Yeah, and they had 3 wins of all of last year, and here we are only mid-season, and they have 3 wins. So some great things are happening. Those young kids are growing up, and Coach Medley is getting them going. No, that's fun to see.
Yeah, that top half of the league, guys, is a combined 12-3, and even Cascade and Horseshoe Bend each have a win at the bottom of the standings this year as well. Let's go to the White Pine League all the way down here at the bottom. Genesee and Deary both start off with 1-0 conference victories over Lewis County and Timberline, respectively. Let's start with Genesee, 56-25. Will, did you actually go to this game on Saturday?
I did. Great Saturday afternoon. It's about 3.5 hours from my house up to Nez Perce, which is where the game was. And my daughter and one of her cousins and I just decided to get in the car and said, what the hell, let's go. And it was one of the craziest starts to a game that I can remember. Genesee scores a quick touchdown, surprise onside kick. They recover it. They score another quick touchdown, surprise onside kick. They drive down and score again. There was about 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Genesee was up 22-0, and Lewis County hadn't even touched the ball yet. And they went on to win 56-24. And that just goes to show you that when Lewis County was able to get their hands on the ball, they were able to move the ball and they were able to do some things. But Genesee just kept going with that onside kick. They recovered 4 of them in the game. They turned all 4 of them into scores. They spread the ball around. Jackson Banks had an incredible game at quarterback, but he's got 4 or 5 playmakers around him as well. They're a good-looking team there, and they've only got 2 seniors on that roster. And hell, Lewis County only has 1 senior, and he's out with an injury right now. They didn't have a single senior suited up on Saturday.
It is a young league overall. Timberline actually might be the oldest team. The Spartans at 0-4. Jackson Banks, 315 yards, 6 touchdowns passing for the Bulldogs there in the win. And then Deary, this game was on Thursday night, guys. Deary beat Timberline 18-12. The game-winning touchdown, the game-winning interception came with just 30 seconds left. Nolan Hubbard snuffed out Timberline's last shot at a win. They scored on a 3-yard touchdown run by Aries Maberly, and Corbin Christopherson hit a 18-yard touchdown pass to Taryn Hewitt. That's how Timberline scored. Deary scored on a touchdown pass from Jarrett Keene to Nolan Hubbard, and then Jacob Meckling ran for 2 touchdowns as well. So a tight Thursday night game, but Coach, all that matters is you get the W, right?
That's all that matters. Yeah, and it can come in a variety of ways that we have seen this weekend. Wow. A pick six has another heartbreaker there. But hey, it's all part of the game.
Yeah, and that Deary defense, Blake Clark, only a junior, really good defensive lineman, 14 tackles and a sack. Cohen Griffin and Cooper Heath each had 8 tackles and a sack as well there for the Deary Mustangs. Genesee and Deary both 1-0. Lewis County and Timberline both start 0-1. All right, let's go to the Sawtooth Conference over in District 4. Coach, this was a game you were at Friday night. Cary and Richfield. All right, the big showdown. Richfield had to play Hanson and Cary in back-to-back weeks. So when you look at the standings, you'll see that the Tigers are 0-2, but it's an understandable 0-2. A 50-6 victory for the Panthers. What did you see in this game, Coach?
It was kind of a tight first quarter, 8-6 to finish the first quarter, and then the Panthers just started to dominate. A punt return, an onside kick, I think, that recovered, and then recovering a fumble, I think, on Richfield's 7 or 6 yard line, and going in, putting up 30 right off the bat in the second quarter, and then total domination as the second half continued with 7 sacks on the night. And Stockton Sears once again having another huge night, over 200 yards on I think 8 or 9 carries, which puts him over the 800-yard mark rushing for the season, which is pretty reputable there. That's a lot of yards. But Panthers looking strong and kind of coming together and doing some great things as they've always done. As soon as Richfield figures out the turnover margin, they've been -4 in most games. They'll win some of those games that they're supposed to, but still a little bit young and still figuring a few things out. But a good 50-6 win for the Panthers.
Yeah, I haven't seen a guy run the ball like Stockton Steers has since the last time I saw Cary Panther running back that you just held your breath every time he took the handoff was a guy named Connor Simpson. He was pretty good. So, yeah, Stockton Sears, 9 carries, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I wanted to highlight the defense. You mentioned it's 7 sacks from 6 different guys. Jonathan Rojas had 2, Tayton Sears, Frankie Hoy, Jonah Saili, Weston Baker, and Pierre Hoy each had 1 sack. And then look at the tackle totals. Will Park had 15 tackles. Jonah Saili, 10 tackles and a pick. Stockton Sears had 10 tackles and a pick. And even Gabe Saili had 8 tackles. That's really kind of the secret sauce of Cary, Will, is that defense. It has been for forever.
Yeah, year in, year out. The highlights go to the offensive players, but the championships are generally won by the defensive players. And granted, in 8-man football, a lot of times it's the same kids, but if you can't make some stops, you're going to have a hard time winning championships, and Cary can make some stops.
For sure. A couple of residual comments here from Alfred Marshall up in Potlatch. Those council boys will never disappoint. Go Hatfields. Yep, Owen Hatfield and his dad and assistant coach there on the staff. And hey, guys, speaking of coaches, head coach of the Kendrick Tigers, Ty Kep, never misses a show. Never missed a show as a player, as a broadcaster, or as a coach now. And he says Simpson was a stud. Yeah, Kendrick and Cary did meet once or twice in the playoffs there.
Yeah.
I do recall. So let's talk about Shoshone got their first conference win. They're 1-0 in the conference. They beat Camas County 50-26. And then Dietrich beat Castleford 44-24. Coach, this was the Chase Norman show. 10 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 catches, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had been in and out of the lineup previously this season. It makes a big difference when he's out there for Dietrich.
Yeah, he certainly is a massive playmaker, a lot like Stockton Sears, getting good blocks behind dudes and then just taking it to the house when necessary, which it's always necessary. And Norman did some amazing things in that game. The storyline maybe perhaps from a Castleford side, though, 3 starters not in that game that we're playing, and maybe even the storyline this weekend with Castleford's game They might have to forfeit. It was the word today as I was there today for a junior high game with some 5 or more injuries on their starting ball club. So we'll see how that plays out there. Only 8 or 9 suited down for junior high as well. So the numbers game can catch up, especially when there's injuries. But a great win for the Devils and good momentum coming into this next weekend.
Yeah, boy, we sure hope Castleford can get those guys back. Connor Parrish did play well in the loss, 50 yards in the touchdown passing, 116 yards and a touchdown rushing. We sure hope Castleford can get it back in action. But here are the Sawtooth Conference standings. Carey and Dietrich both 2-0. Hanson and Shoshone both 1-0. Richfield, Castleford, Camas County all 0-2. Boy, Coach, Carey and Dietrich at the top. We've never seen that before.
Never. Looks good.
All right, well, let's go to the Rocky Mountain Conference, District 5 and 6, as we take a look at the league standings. Pretty much everybody's beaten Shoban so far, essentially. Mackey, Rockland, North Gem, Chalice, all 1-0, all wins over Shoban. Water Springs says, hey, when do we get to play Shoban? All kidding aside, Shoban, this is their first year of having a team since pre-COVID. And the fact that they're still going out there and having fun and competing, every team that plays them says the same thing. Like, they're a little raw, but they've got good athletes and they're having fun and they're smiling and their enthusiasm is off the charts. And I saw them with my own eyes play Rockland earlier this year. So we don't know a lot about this conference yet. Mackey was the latest team to play Shoban on Friday night. They won 53-0. Royley Jones threw 5 touchdowns. 3 of them went to Graydon Bruley. Bruley had 9 tackles on defense as well. And Coach, you love the defensive numbers. 6 sacks, 2 from Dylan Merrill, 2 from Lucas Hulse, 1 each from Cooper Holt and Otto Johnson. They had 7 takeaways, 5 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. Dax Tykert and Peyton Tykert each had a pick. And then Merrill, Bruley, Johnson, Jones, and James Highland all had a fumble recovery. 7 takeaways for that Mackey defense.
Yeah, that's really getting it done. That's getting in the backfield. That's being aggressive. And you're going to win a lot of ball games when you're +7 a year in and year out for sure. There was a comment from Coach Huish from Mackey about Shoban and stated that they played hard every single down all the way to the end of the game. There was no give up in those guys. They tried all night long. And so I appreciate that from Coach Huish and in his respect to the Shoban tribe.
Yeah, and this is a story I shared earlier this year, but they have a new athletic director this year, Pamela Kobe. She's the boys basketball coach at Shoban as well. And she said, hey, you guys think you're just going to show up and play basketball? You're going out for a fall sport. I don't care if it's football. I don't care if it's cross country. I want you playing a sport. And some of the athletes are doing both, as I shared earlier this year. You love that buy-in from an athletic director and a basketball coach, because some basketball coaches say, yeah, why don't you just go to open gym and shoot hoops and stay fresh? But she was like, no, you're going to play a fall sport. And they got enough kids to have a football team. So you love that buy-in from the AD and the other coaches that are in your building there, Coach Kirkland.
Goes a long ways. It definitely goes a long ways. You got to be tough to do all these sports, but it'll start in football and set the tone.
Yeah. Rockland got a nice 58-6 win over Rimrock. Xavier Parrish, 5 touchdowns passing. Zach Perman had 262 yards and 4 touchdowns rushing. Also had 2 receiving touchdowns and an interception on defense. Parrish, 193 yards passing with 5 scores. 3 of them went to Ethan Perman, 5 catches for 100 yards and 3 TDs. And for Rimrock, Carlos Herrera continues to kind of do a little bit of everything. 2 of 4 passing for 25 yards, 5 carries for 42 yards, 2 catches for 42 yards, 14 tackles, and a kick return touchdown. He kind of reminds me of Ronaldo Gomez, just in terms of like he's having an impact on all of the facets of the game. But Rimrock is still a team that's trying to figure it out here. But we'll see once they get into Western Idaho Conference play how it goes. But this is a Rockland team that we know is really good, Coach, as long as everybody can stay healthy.
Yeah, and they'll be matching up with Carey, I believe, here in a couple of weeks, coming to town. I think we're calling that game.
Yes.
So that should be kind of fun, but they're definitely keeping the ball rolling, and hopefully those other guys can come back and play and be competitive. But Bulldogs looking better than last year, I think.
Yes, we're going to have a double dip of Cary Panthers football on IdahoSports.com this year. And Coach Kirkland will be in the broadcast booth for both of them. Home against Rockland and then that road game at Valley late in the season. Fun non-conference game there. Will, let's talk about St. Joe's and Water Springs. Really fun, high-scoring game here. 68-58. St. Joe's from Utah gets the win. But Water Springs played pretty well. And this was kind of the first time I'd really done a deep dive into Water Springs and their first-year head coach, Ben Hayes. Corbin Nelson is the guy that had been quarterbacking the team the past couple of years. He threw for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 5 attempts. Also ran the ball 20 times for 52 yards and a score. Had 10 tackles and an interception on defense. But this Sean Perry kid has been playing QB a lot this year too. And he threw for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also threw 2 picks. And then, of course, Ryan Demkowitz, really good basketball player, great receiver as well. He had a rushing touchdown and 6 catches for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. Water Springs has kind of been out of sight, out of mind this year, Will, but we know they've got some decent athletes.
They do. And Sean Perry's been a nice little story for him this year as he's gotten the bulk of the reps at quarterback, and he's done a pretty nice job. And they've been in a couple shootouts this year, and you got to feel that it's only a matter of time before they get one of those to go their way. I'm sure their coaches are saying, hey, if we can just mix in a couple more stops, we've got enough offense. We've got enough weapons to tussle with some folks. But that whole Rocky Mountain Conference, it's looking pretty tough. I mean, you've got Rockland, who I think, if healthy, is a team that can hang around for a possible deep run in November. Mackey is off to a tremendous start so far. North Gem, let's not speak ill of them in any way. Coach Hatch and his group, they're going to be heard from before it's all said and done. And Chalice, okay, yeah, they're 1-4, but the 4 losses are against 4 decent teams here. This is a pretty good conference, and it's, you're going to have to show up and put in your work no matter who you are, from Choban all the way to Mackey. You're going to have to show up and put in your work if you want to get some wins.
Yeah, I do wonder, Mackey has played 3 games, Camas County, Choban, and Dietrich, and I think that was Dietrich without Chase Norman. The 3 wins there. Conversely, like you said, Chalice has played 4 really tough opponents thus far, with Choban, but then Hagerman and Richfield and the Butte County JV and Idaho City in there as well. And so we all see our first data point will be this Friday. Chalice and Mackey play each other. So we'll finally start to see how this all shakes out. I think Rockland still is the favorite until somebody can knock them off. But good luck to all of the combatants there in the Rocky Mountain Conference. All right, guys, we will wrap up with Wallace and St. John Endicott. All right, Will, you asked for a resounding victory from the Wallace Miners. I'd say they delivered 66-6, the final score there. Cooper Miller, I wonder what his QB rating was in this one, Coach. 17 of 19. Only missed on 2 passes. 252.
It was 153.
153?
Yep. It was a 153 rating.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Well, in the NFL, I think 156 is perfect. So
that was on Max Press, by the way. 153.5, I think it was.
Wow, that's pretty good. 17 of 19, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns passing. Also ran the ball 4 times for 123 yards and 2 scores. Lennox Radford continues to play well. 6 carries, 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ashton Holbert ran the ball 10 times for 89 yards and a score. Gus Scott, 6 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marley Pierce, 11 tackles and a sack. The guy I really wanted to focus in on here, though, for Wallace, Will, is Henry Larson. He was the starting quarterback for Wallace as a freshman. Cooper Miller was still in middle school. Then his sophomore year, they said, hey, we need you to move to wide receiver. We got Cooper coming in. He says, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to help the team. Well, then he gets hurt and misses the whole season. So now he's back as a junior, and they've kind of got him doing a little bit of everything. He ran the ball once for 36 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches for 94 yards and 2 scores, had a sack, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. I think he's a really important piece for this Wallace team.
Yeah, weapons like that you can move around the field and put in a number of different roles and have them do a number of different things. There's not a price high enough to pay for a player who can do that. And, let's, knock on wood, we're not, we certainly hope nothing happens to Cooper Miller, but if he does, twist an ankle or something and needs to come out of the game for a while, to have a guy like that who has varsity, like meaningful, legit varsity starting experience as your backup quarterback. And, oh, by the way, he's a running back, he's a wide receiver, he's a linebacker, he's a defenseman, whatever, or defensive end, all the spots that he plays, just, get your good players on the field and find a way to get them the ball. And Wallace is doing a great job of that so far.
Yeah, let's go Hank there from the Wallace Miners Athletics Facebook page. And then, Coach Jared Young told me preseason, hey, our goal is to not run the ball with Cooper Miller as much this year. Like we can if we need to, but, we want to lean on all the other guys. And this embodies it. Hank is selfless. This whole team they've really bought into the team concept this year over there in Wallace. And so I really like these guys. I'm going out there. I think it's next week. They're playing Genesee on IdahoSports.com. That'll be a really fun non-conference game. Looking forward to that. And then, last year too, Coach Young, when he's not coaching football during the basketball season, he runs the broadcast media classes over there at Wallace, and they broadcast all of the basketball games and volleyball games. And we went over IdahoSports.com last year, and we kind of did a co-op broadcast with the Wallace students. And so it was me and Hank Larson and Cooper Miller, and the three of us broadcast this girls' basketball game between Wallace and Lakeside. It was a blast. Those kids are awesome. Coach Young is great. Corey Miller, the athletic director, is awesome there as well. So I just like it. It's a good vibe over there in Wallace. So
yeah, Wallace and Coeur de Christ, they're going to be kind of trading punches all year atop that North Star, those North Star standings, and they're going to put up some points. Both teams have great quarterback play. Both teams have great skill play. Both teams are well coached. That'll be a fun game to watch. I don't know if my little car will make it quite that far up, but when those two teams play, I might have to see if I can figure out a way to get up to that one.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, it's time to take a look at the game picks. How have the game picks been going this year? We are picking every single game this year on IdahoSports.com on the 8-man Prepcast, and we are keeping a running total throughout the season of how our pick'em totals are going. So let's take a look at the latest standings. Coach is still in the lead. I forgot to update. I'm actually 1 game back of Coach now, and Will is 2 games back. So we each picked up. Actually, Will is still 3 games back. Sorry, Will, you didn't actually make a move. I did though, because I went.
It's okay.
Pile on.
It's okay.
I went 19-3 last week, guys. You guys each went 18-4. So it was a pretty good week overall for all of us. So nice work. Brandon. Yeah. Nice work, guys. But we're all still chasing Coach. He picked Centennial Baptist all the way back in week 1, and the wind has been at his sails ever since. So
go Lighthouse TV.
and we all had games where we kind of stuck our neck out this past week. And like I picked St. Joe's to beat Water Springs. Coach, you picked the Lighthouse JV. Will, you picked a couple. Your problem was you made some like good hedge bets, but you went too far with some of your other misfires. So, but it was good.
Thanks, teacher.
A for effort. All right. Well, let's take a look at what we got coming up here. We do have 2 Thursday night games. Rimrock is going to play host to Centennial Baptist, first conference game for each of those teams. And then also at the Mariman Health Core Center in Worley, Coeur de Christ is going to tangle with Lakeside as well. So, Coach, you are still the clubhouse leader here. I will let you go first.
Let's go with Rimrock on that one, and Coeur de Christ.
I too will take Rimrock and Coeur de Christ. Will?
Same. Make it 3.
Okay. No separation there. Then we'll go to Friday. Let's take a look. If I can get it to stop.
God, you ever done this before, Brandon? Holy cow.
Yeah. Got the shakes going on here. Okay. Here's what we've got for the 2A landscape. Notice is going to be at Salmon River and in a non-conference game. Grace has to make the trip over to Adrian to play the Antelopes. Maybe Tri-Valley can give them a few pointers. We've got the Upriver Rampage, Kamiah and Clearwater Valley. They're like 10 miles apart there over in North Idaho. Potlatch is going to be at Deary. Oakley and Hagerman. Wilder at Idaho City, conference opener for each of those teams. Kendrick is going to be at Lapway, Logos, and Prairie. What a fun one that will be. Glens Ferry is going to be at Raft River. Wallace will travel to Troy, and Murtaugh will tangle with Valley. Coach, what do you got here?
Oh, the Salmon River Notice. Don't that be fun? Those two guys headed back there. Shepherd headed back to his hometown. Which sideline is he going to be on? Is he going to take the home side and just
where's his dad going to stand?
I don't. Yeah, where's he going to be? Let's go with Charlie Shepherd's second win of the year. Let's go with Notice Pirates.
Okay.
And I'm picking Grace and Camei, Potlatch, Hagerman, Idaho City, Kendrick, Logos. And down at the bottom there, going to go with Raft River, Wallace, and Valley.
Okay. By the way, we will be broadcasting Camei and Clearwater Valley Friday night on IdahoSports.com, so you can tune into the Upriver Rampage. Hayden Eulencott will be on the call for that one. I will go Salmon River. I will go Actually, I'll go Adrian. Excuse me, Adrian. I will go Camei, Potlatch, Hagerman, Idaho City, Kendrick. I'm gonna take a gamble here. I've picked against Prairie a couple of times this year. Coach Hasselstrom I'm not on his Christmas card list, but maybe I will be after this one. I'll take Prairie. Try and get a game on you, Coach. I'll go Raft River, Wallace, and Valley as well. Will?
I'm gonna go Salmon River. I'm gonna go Adrian, Camei, Potlatch, Idaho City, Hagerman, Kendrick.
You hopping on the pirate ship with me, Will? Arg.
I think I'm gonna go Logos on that one.
Okay.
I'm not feeling great about it, but Coach Holloway, tell your boys that they're repping me this week. Raft River, Wallace, and boy, that's another tough one there. Valley, Murtaugh. I'm going to go Murtaugh, see if I can pick up a game there.
Okay, he made a deal with the devil. So
the Red Devil.
Let's go.
That's right. Okay, and then the 1A landscapes, you'll see some of these games because they're crossovers. The 1A only games, though, are Water Springs at Rockland, Shoshone at Castle Ford for the moment. Maybe we'll leave that one out in case Castle Ford does have to forfeit that game. Cascade at Council, Carey at Hanson. That'll be a fun one. Chalice and Mackey, Dietrich at Richfield. Shoban and Clark Fork are going to play in Hamilton, Montana. I'll double check and make sure that one's still on the schedule. Garden Valley at Tri-Valley is going to be the game of the week possibly there as well. So, Coach, this is a little trickier slate to predict here, but what do you got?
Yeah, we're going to go with Rockland on that game there, and Council, Carey, Potlatch, and Lincoln's Civil War. Lincoln County Civil War. We're going to pick Dietrich on that one.
Okay.
And Clark Fork and Shoban. Where in the world is that going to get played at? In Hamilton, Montana.
Well,
it's like Coach wasn't even listening to you, Brandon.
Yeah.
I think this game is happening. Maybe we'll leave this one out just in case. I'll have to text Coach Young and make sure Clark Fork's playing that game.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to go with Tri-Valley over Garden Valley.
Okay, and I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yep. Okay.
Did you do Mackey Chalice, Coach?
I didn't. We're going to go with Mackey.
Okay. Good work there, Will. Good eye. I will go Rockland, Council. I will go Carey. I'll take Mackey. I will go Dietrich. I will go Tri-Valley in the last game. So, Will, what do you got?
Let's go Rockland. Let's go Council. Let's go Carey. I'm going to take Richfield.
Okay.
I'll go with Chalice. And Tri-Valley at home in what should be a good one.
Okay. It's going to be, I mean, we're finally in a conference play now, so we'll start figuring some stuff out. I'm really excited for this upcoming slate of games for sure. So, Coach, you're going to be at the Carey Hansen game Friday night?
I could be. I may end up just down there in Richfield to see what's going on in that game. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
The what'd you call it? The Civil War?
Lincoln's Civil War.
Yeah, Lincoln's. Yeah, there you go. Lincoln's Civil War. I like it. Will, you got a game you're going to go to Friday?
I'm toying with Adrian is about a 7-iron from my house. So I may go over there and watch some of that just to see Grace with my own eyes a little bit, because I'm feeling like Grace might have the tools to give Kendrick a pretty good tussle. So I want to go over there and give them a look. But then homecoming here in Parma, got to get back for at least some of that.
Okay. And who does Parma play for their homecoming?
The Marching Huskies.
Okay. Okay. We'll see how that goes. This should be a fun one. So, all right. Well, thank you for tuning into the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast, everybody. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we will see you back here next Wednesday night for another edition of the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast for Coach Lane Kirkland. And, one more question here for Will Henneke. Hayden Eulencott says, Will, are you making plans for Kendrick Potlatch next week?
Ooh.
You went to Nez Perce on Saturday. That's like 4 hours.
Well, if it's a Friday night game, I might not be able to pull it off just because I don't know that I have the hours to take off of work to drive up there. I would like to. I would definitely like to.
Coach Kep, if you're still watching, let's petition to move this game to Saturday.
Or make it a neutral site game here in Parma. Then I can guarantee you I would make it.
Kendrick's like, we've done enough of the neutral site games this year. They've been living in the Treasure Valley. So, yes. Okay. Well, for Coach Lane Kirkland and Will Henneke, I'm Brandon Baney. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.